Hey, it's Becky from Patchwork Posse. Today we are going to sew a pincushion for your sewing machine. So if you're tired of your needles rolling around on the plate of your machine, today is the day when that will stop. So I'll show you how to use your scraps as well. And this is a project you can make under probably 10 minutes or so. Before we start, I thought I would just show you what my plate looks like at my sewing machine. And so you might relate to this. There is a pile of pins here. Usually I have a pin cushion kind of sitting right here, but it moves around and then I need it somewhere else and I misplace it. So today we are going to sew a pin cushion that will take care of that little problem right there. So we are going to make a pincushion for the sewing machine. The first thing I did was sew my scraps together. Now there's another video tutorial on how to do this. I use ticker tape and it really makes using scraps like this pile really easy and quick. So I sewed all my pieces together in 2 strips. And I've got my paper removed from them. So these are about 2.5 wide by I think around 6 inches. So you can make adjustments to the size if you need based on the area that you need your pincushion to be on. Now, as far as the ribbon goes, I have a problem and I usually keep the ribbon from any kind of packaging. And so here I've got Carolina Moore Patterns ribbon. I have ribbon from fabric like Moda. This is super cute. I just might end up using this. I have regular like woven tape that I could use. I've got larger ribbon. I also have really thin ribbon. And so it really just depends on how much ribbon you want it to look or to be seen on the machine. This would work great as well because it's really not very wide and doesn't take much space on your machine. However, this ribbon is super cute, so I might want to use this. The first thing you're going to do is measure your machine. So you want this to go around your machine. Yardage would work totally well. You'll need 2 pieces for your ribbon. So with this ribbon, what you're going to do is you're going to lay your first piece down and you are going to pin this ribbon to one side. And you are going to take your other piece of ribbon and you are going to pin it to the other side. Now what you want to do is pull these so they are coming out kind of the same location, because we are going to sew all the way around this, leaving an opening on the side for turning. And so now I'm going to place this right sides together. I am going to stitch all the way around the pin cushion, leaving an opening right where my ribbons are coming out. On both sides where the ribbon is right here on the edge, I went forward, did reverse, and went stitched forward again. So I did that on both sides to really make sure that that ribbon is in there really good. Now, if you want, you can snip those corners so they don't have extra bulk, and it makes it really easy to turn and push out. So after we snip, we can go ahead and give a little pull on our ribbon if we want, or stick our thumb in here, but we're going to turn this right sides out. All right, with that turned right sides out, I pushed my corners out. And what we're going to do now is stuff our pincushion with just little pieces of batting or polyfill. I just have batting, so I'm going to tear my batting apart. This isn't as ideal as polyfill, but at the moment, I don't know where my polyfill bag is. So we are just going to do this. And once I get it in smaller bits, I can go ahead and start stuffing this into my pincushion. Now that you have your pincushion all stuffed, you're just going to need to close it. So for closing, you're just going to need a needle and thread. Do the quilter's knot. If you don't know what that is, I've got a video tutorial for walking you through that process. But now we are going to just use the ladder stitch for this. So for the ladder stitch, you're going to take your needle and thread and you are just going to start this so your needle comes from the inside out, and that will hide your tail thread as well as your knot. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take our needle and we are going to go just into the side of that fold just a little bit. We're going to pick a little bit of the fabric up on our needle and we are going to pull our thread right through. I'm going to repeat that for the other side. So I'm going to go kind of right where that fold is and put my needle in and out, picking up just a little bit of fabric again. And you can take a couple stitches before you pull the thread to close it. So if you need to, you know, open the hole up just a little bit to grab the fabric on that fold. So I'm going to take a couple stitches here. All right, so you can see that there are a few stitches right here, and when I pull the thread tight, it's going to close that opening really nicely. This ladder stitch you can use for closing pincushions, pillows, bags, plushies, dolls, you name it. It's quite a helpful stitch. It allows you to close the opening without really revealing your thread. So you can see I'm using a green thread and it is not showing at all. Now you do want to make sure that you don't pull this thread too tight or it will kind of pucker the fabric. So there is kind of a little bit of a happy place for the thread as well. When I get to the end, I'm going to make sure I pull the thread good and tight so everything is closed. There isn't any gaps in here. It looks really good. So now I can go ahead and take a couple stitches. I can make a knot and bury my thread inside. That's how you do a ladder stitch. All right, so here is my sewing machine pincushion. Now I thought I would show you how I attached it to the machine. Initially, I had thought about putting it and actually tried it down here, but because my reverse button for the machine is right here, it was a little bulky and I didn't love it. The next thing I tried was to put the pincushion across the base in the throat area. And so it just went the long way right here. And I didn't really like that either because it took up space in my throat. And I didn't want the pins hanging out here. That's why I had made the pincushion in the first place, is to get the pins out of this area. So it kind of defeated the process. I did also try it underneath, so wrapped the ribbon around the foot and had the pincushion sitting in front. But I didn't like that either. So I went to the top of the machine. So I don't have any dials or anything that it's obstructing. This is on the Juki. And this pincushion is long enough, it can wrap from the front to the top, which I actually liked. It gives a little bit larger area. As well, I can shift this around. So if I want more on the top or whatever, I can move this around if I want. Again, this is just tied. And so I wrapped it around, I tied it in a knot, and it stays really tight and nicely. So here's my knot. I just flipped it to the back side, and then, you know, I can snip these off. So I might audition this for a little bit. So until I decide for sure, I'm just going to hide the ribbon ties on the back side so they're not in the throat area. But that is a look at how I ended up with my sewing machine pincushion on the machine right at the top. It's out of the way. I can use it for all my pins. I'm super excited to give it a try.